Don't glitch on me now, computer. There we go. Perfect. All right. And picking up where we left off last week. It's been a bit because, holidays. But you might recall, things went a little epic, a little fast in that town. That pirate vessel you'd managed to sneak your way on ended up getting lifted out of the water by a maelstrom of a magical release within the town. The same sort of effect you've seen previously on that mausoleum of sorts where the undead were at the start of the campaign. Once again, magic ran rampant and has left nothing behind but a crater and a small group of survivors from the village. Those survivors and what pirates survived from the crash of the ship as it came down, and the poor Kraken was carried off into the void. Yeah, there was a Kraken, that's right. Which really made Jillian wonder just how close I'm looking at these challenge ratings anymore, if I'm even bothering, because, like she said, we were at level 20 previously, not no more, which I think might have been my favorite moment from the last game, Jillian. Hats off to you. You start with 2 hero points today, because I had to mute myself, I was laughing so hard.
Hey.
But after that, the team had themselves a pretty safe go of it as things quieted down and relaxed. The remaining pirates, you ushered them onto your team, along with the remaining townsfolk who, not having a town anymore, decided to travel along with the party, increasing your caravan size considerably, giving you access to important things, merchants on the go. They were quick to pack up what they had for their belongings and products, and were at least enough put together that a group of adventurers could make use out of them. So, you jump off your mount, walk around to the side bag saddle, open it up, and it's like blacksmith services, what do you need? Go to the other side. Item services, what do you need? Essentially. Which is important for characters like Dan's, who has a lot of crafting, but you generally need a lot of time. Now, Dan, I'm giving you this information as a heads up in advance, that you will be getting a lot of time. You've got a month's worth of a journey remaining across the continent, which itself is little more than a wasteland now, before you make it to the Kingdom of Blackrock. So, if you've got anything you're looking to make or build or do, well, it's a good time to look into that sort of stuff. After all, you all got up there in levels, so it's making a bit of a difference. So, as things went on, the group of you all got back together, and you were making your way on your wonderful caravan. And if anyone else has anything they can do in downtime, your characters get about 3 days worth of travel as you start to make your way towards the edge of the mists that fill the entirety of the continent. Sort of one of those last moment breaks the team takes before you get a nod from the person you're traveling with, basically telling you, be ready. We don't know what we're going to encounter from here on out. But the ground up ahead is barren. The soil dark, the sky gloomy as it's constantly overcast. And your caravan, well, you're the primary guards for it, as it starts to lumber into the shadows up ahead.
I have an idea for downtime.
Oh yeah.
I would I don't have anything that I can craft. But just to finish this off, maybe because John's not been here for the last couple of sessions, I'll use the scroll of cure disease on my character, and then we can use the treat disease downtime activity to help him beat the medicine, or no, the save for it.
We'll figure out how things go for Ulag. For now, I'm going to use soap opera rules and just write his character off to the side. He's being helped and bandaged and taken care of. But it's that lovely spellcaster, the cleric. She managed to survive. Now, I was planning a small event about her magic and her writing a second copy of the spell when you inquired with her. But since John's been out for a fair bit, there's not much holding that in place anymore. It doesn't take you too much to get that cast upon yourself, of course, and get that healing done. And she's more than merry to help you with that. She can help transcribe the scroll, get it written down, and that'll get you nice and healed up. John's character, we'll worry about running a similar amount for him if his character gets to return, but she assures you, she's taking care of him. She's been medicating him and he'll be fine. They are focusing on you because you're all now fighting on the outs. While John's character, I'm going to say Ulog, has been communicating between the half-orcs rather, and the remaining humans, trying to keep everyone nice and peaceful between the multiple groups, especially with the pirates and the townsfolk on board. The townsfolk, who were xenophobic to a fault previously, are now the most untrustworthy lot on those cargo of yours. But for yourself, for your character, by all means, consider yourself healed up. The big catch-22 decision you had to make when I had given you one copy of the spell is no longer much of a concern for your character, and you most assuredly get over that disease.
I'm no longer a little ghoul. Awesome.
I mean, when you say it like that, it's just funny.
Yeah. It's, blame Nadpod for that. There was a whole 4 episodes where a guy was called a little ghoul.
A little ghoul. I love it. Oh, goodness. It almost sounds offensive, but then you realize you're just poking fun at the same thing. So, I'm going to skip a couple days worth of time. I'm going to set it to the late evening, about 7 o'clock at night. You all been traveling, as mentioned, on this caravan for a bit. And where it's nighttime, and of course, if you need long rests or anything, by all means, you've got a couple days. Your character should be back up to full par at this point. But when it's late at night, around 7 p.m., who's going to be on watch and on guard duty in the evening?
I could. I volunteer.
All right, we've got Deacon raising a hand.
Yeah, I would be happy to do it as well if he wants company. I got low light vision, so dusk is probably a pretty good time.
Not too bad to be scanning out, but now, as mentioned, now I've just put you on a forest map here because it didn't seem quite right to keep you on that busted up city, after all. It's pretty much gone.
Just for a really delayed response in what I would be doing,
yeah.
I would just be working away at some arrows to get up to an even 100.
Oh, nice.
I'm at 64 right now, so that's how I would be spending my time.
However many you can produce at a time is doubled. Because as this is happening, the half-elf, goodness, I'm so far off the mark, the half-orc's son takes a seat beside you as he sees you whittling a few and gives a nod. Oh, it looks like I could be of assistance in this endeavor. As he nods, as you recall previously, the few times you've seen him in combat, he's been using archery. He'll sit there beside you, whittle out a few sticks, and help produce and essentially double your production rate on restoring those arrows and making more.
Sweet. So it wouldn't be any trouble to be making, say, I know math, 36-ish in the downtime that we had.
Let me take a look. Because you had about 5 days, I believe I said.
Mm-hmm.
Any consumable in the batch of 4 craft arrows, probably say that having arrows, blah, 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 blah. All crafting begins at 4 days worth of work. 4 days at minimum. That kind of works. So you can get a nice pile of 10 arrows after 4 days and 1 silver point to make a batch of 10 arrows. So it'll be 20 arrows for the cost of about a silver, if I'm looking at this correctly.
20.
They're like, if you're going to craft anything, it'll take at least 4 days. Anything after that, reduce the cost. I'm like, okay. Gotcha. Check mark noted for that one. I'd have to double check these. And by all means, feel free to correct these at any future time for your downtime activities. They're all still fairly new to me. I'm used to the D&D method of build stuff. No, here's money. Gimme. Gotta do something with this gold. Bah.
So 1 silver
Yep.
for 20 arrows. Perfect.
Yep. So long as the other gentleman is assisting you. He knows what he's doing with his arrow and fletchery skills.
It's yep, all sorted. I got rid of my gold and added my arrows. Thanks, Alan. Sorry for the delay there.
Oh, no worries. That's what half the point of downtime's for. I should ask as well. Dan, you got anything up them sleeves with all your crafting abilities in your downtime? I put him on spot.
Yeah, put me on spot. I'm just trying to think, do we need anything?
Oh, I should also say, because this is much of a learning curve for players as it is for the Dungeon Master, they would be able to provide you with the materials to make armor runes up to your level, of course.
Sorry, can you say that again, please?
For getting set up with the armor runes and all that. They add special abilities to armors or weapons in addition to the fundamental runes and all that. You'd be able to get some basic stuff from these people, essentially a slight boost to your armor and capacity. Most of it's going to be limited by level, and you'll see there's not too much below level 5 to begin with for any of the armor runes and all that. But like to boost your armor, 1 second here.
Yeah, I think we'd need to get a potency rune.
Yep.
Inscribed on the base armor. Then that would give us like the +1. Then.
And then anything else, which is the special stuff, would be restricted by level. But you have to have that +1 on there first. I put the cart before the horse. Don't mind me. Thank you, Dean. But you do need to get the armor potency.
Yep. So I bought 3 runestones and components for a 1 +1 potency rune. If Dan ever wants to like make them, I'm fine with buying it as well. I just want to stock up. But yeah, if that's a possibility, I would get a potency rune for my breastplate.
I do not have armor potency. I have weapon potency.
That's cool. If you want to make if you want to use them to make the weapon one, that's cool as well. I can just buy one from the caravan.
Oh.
I'll even out at some point.
Because I respect the crafting and actually getting things good, because you saved all these people and all that. Dan, I'll give you the schematics for the weapon potency, or for the armor potency rune. And I'll let you pick one other one. Good luck with that pick. See, I've learned Dan is great for planning, so you know. I like to every now and then throw something at him, and it's like, here's something to work with. Have fun on that one. No immediate rush on that second decision, by the way. But I'll definitely give you the armor potency rune as well, so you've got armor and weapon potency for the base.
Sweet.
I gotta double check the reading, but can you actually put can you inscribe an armor for the place for a rune to go if it's non-magical, or do you have to make it magical when the armor's made? But if that's the case, does it really matter?
Would the runes make it magical? Well, at least my understanding is that you make a base item magical with the rune.
That sounds right to me. The wordings are a little weird, but that sounds one to me. And I believe it only takes like a day to put a rune on. Let's see here.
Seems like.
Oh yeah, etching a rune onto an item follows the same process as using the craft activity to make an item. So it takes 4 days and costs money.
Right. Well, I will. So, are people in the caravan able to inscribe it, or just have it to sell?
They have the base for it to sell to you, for you to process as a
Okay.
team. Most of these magical things are beyond what these people might know. You might find someone
Right.
somewhere someday who has these powers. And when I say you might, that means you definitely will, because Pathfinder needs their magical items.
All right. Well, then I will just request a ticket number from Dan for when he's got free downtime, because my character is a dumb boy. He's charismatic, and that's it.
It's 160 gold for the armor potency.
Let's take a look here. Armor
Is that-
upgrade. Oh, no, yeah.
Does that get halved when you craft it?
Well, it's 80 gold upfront for the parts to make it, but then I have to pay the other 80 gold after 4 days unless I continue crafting to lower the cost.
Well, I've got a rune stone and components for one rune, so you wouldn't. We've got. So I bought them from the pirates, so we've got at least components for one.
Then that comes on to Alan because we have the parts, but to craft you pay half the cost up front for materials, and then you have to pay the other half of the cost after 4 days unless you continue crafting, which will lower the cost.
Yep.
But we already have the parts, so I don't know how that works.
I think you got the cost of the runes for free. It's just the material you'll be looking at. But if you're upgrading a weapon you've already got, to slap a rune onto something should be free, I believe.
Oh yeah, to put it on there, but he has all the parts required. Like he's already bought everything needed to make the rune, so I need to craft the rune from what he has. But the issue is when you go, crafting says when you go to make it, you have to pay half the cost for the stuff up front, and then the other half after 4 days.
Let me see here. Oh, I remember how it works now. Sorry, I completely spaced. The runes, when you get them, the ones you've been given, already have one of these features or abilities inscribed on them, and you just take it off the rune stone onto the rune in the armor. Using the transfer feature. That's how that one works, right?
Okay, miscommunication then, because I thought you were saying they had the stuff for us to make the runes.
Oh,
so I
a little better
rune.
than that. You got rune transfer, because I think I had said what was on those runes. Like they were just +1 rune for armor and weapon or something of the sort, basic. And you can use a rune transfer to do that, I believe.
Would that not just be etching if we've got a loose rune?
Yep, because if it's... Wasn't there something on the rune, though? Like, that's how it works, and you can transfer from that item to your weapon, and then that item is blank, and you could put a rune on it instead, so you can quickly swap over 1 day instead of having to do the full 4. I think that's how that one works. Because they're specifically rune stones I gave you, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure if there was anything on them. Yeah, here we go. The rune stones I've given you, they're flat pieces of hard stone for etching a magical fundamental rune or property rune. You can only etch one on it at a time, and once it's etched, it gains that, and you can transfer it to another object. The rune stone is cracked and destroyed in the process. So you can put a magical enchantment into the rune stone, and then take 1 day of crafting to put it onto a weapon. It comes in handy to flop things around a little bit. You burn through rune stones really fast, though. I don't remember if your rune stones came equipped with anything, though. That's... I'm good, but my memory's not that good.
Yeah, so from I guess what I've got in my inventory is just like the blank runestone. So I bought 3 of them, and then I got like the components to craft a rune.
All right.
So,
well, you
but
know...
if we can just buy like a already intact rune, then that would save making a rune first.
Yep.
Because then that would be like the 8 days or something, if I followed that right.
God, yeah. Well, I'm gonna do you all a kindness. because I like giving out good rewards, especially for using new features and abilities, especially in a game mode where it's like, you craft shit, and I love giving the curveballs for Dan to work with when I see him jumping on these sort of things. It's fun to see. One of those runestones that you've got is already etched because, well, they don't know what's magical or what's not. To them, it's just a stone is a stone is a runestone. So I'm going to say the first basic runestone you have is carrying your standard +1 armor potency. The second
Sweet.
one, Dan, actually no, Jameson, since you've been listening to us talk all this stuff, give me a coin flip. Even, it's going to be a weapon potency. Odd, it's going to be armor.
Okay. I'm just going to use Google to flip a coin out and have one on me right now.
Oh, the chat, just roll 1d2. You can use the following command. I'll put it in quotations, but if you remove the quotation marks, you can roll any dice with this command. You can roll 1d7, for goodness sakes, and it'll do it. But a 1d2 is a coin flip. What did I say it was? Even for weapon? Even for weapon. I'll say that now. So it's an armor rune. Two armor runes now?
Yep.
Perfect. So you now have 2 standard +1 armor runes on those rune stones. So the other one blank.
Go. That's pretty huge.
Rune transfer is nice. Because you can transfer, mix things around to make things a little easier for yourself. You can swap the potency on weapons and all that.
You are all extremely lucky that we are level 5 now.
Oh,
Armor Potency +1 is a level 5 rune.
yep.
To craft it, I must match that level. So to be able to transfer it, it follows the crafting rules, so you have to be level 5 to transfer.
Maybe it's true what they say. Investing is good.
That was almost like the chosen saying something.
I want to take
way
credit
you
and
said
say I
that.
planned it. But nope. I did not.
The dice have spoken.
Yeah, 160 gold normally to get that done and etched into a suit of armor. And you can always upgrade them, but that's expensive and costs money. Level 11 and level 18 for your 2 major upgrades to get 2 and 3 potencies. And you also have to be an expert in crafting to pull this off at level 5.
Surprise, I'm an expert.
Yeah. Dan's like, I've been waiting. So, with 4 days worth of time for 160 gold, Dan can impart a +1 armor potency or a +1 weapon potency on any of your gears. I've also left him with 1 freebie level 5 magical enchantment of his choice to pick, representing something found in that library. Because I'll tip my hat to the team for going to the library and doing some good work there. You totally circumvented the rest of the adventure. You're like, we're taking the back door and we're beating the crap out of everyone on the way. And I was never so proud. I was like, that's awesome. You do it. It's like, what about the story? I'm like, screw the story. You don't need to know about the twins and the struggles and all that sort of stuff. Just kill them. That was a good time. Don't get me wrong. You would have been running in circles the other way. And it's a murder mystery and all that. Half the fun's figuring it out by this the weird ways. Like, we're going down the well. I'm like, you're going down the well? Oh, yeah. There has to be something down that well. I'm like, there is, damn it. I thought I've made it big obvious it would slide under the radar, but no. So, you've had 5 days worth of rest, and I'm warning you, Dan. Tip of the iceberg. You've got, like I said, a month's worth of travel yet ahead of you as your characters make it through the mists. And Jameson, I believe you said you and as well, Deacon as well, the Devaxian as well. The D's get me every damn time. Deacon and Devaxian are on watch while the team is traveling. And maybe Jade's sitting there with a needle and thread as he's putting that +1 rune into someone's armor. Like, now hang on, this isn't too hard. You just patch it right over the heart and it'll block every shot. The trick is we add more belts and take away the fabric. Something about the Final Fantasy rules.
That is true. I am wearing a big leather coat. Plenty of room for belts. I would probably say give Deacon that armor rune first.
Um,
Because if he combines that with his shield block, then
yeah,
it'll be
I just found something that might be um, there's a crafting thing called Adamantine Echo. It functions as a +1 armor potency rune. Its cost is 0.
Adamantite
that
Echo?
sounds fancy.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at this, because I'm guessing it's the material. Unique is tagged right on it. That's a problem. That'll limit you. One of a kind. Ooh. Made from glossy, nearly black adamantine. Large fragment of a plate armor of provide little protection on its own, but covered an extra suit of armor. Ah, that specific item isn't a +1 armor potency rune that you can slap into a piece of gear. I see.
Is that like? It sounds like a quest reward if it's unique.
Yep, it's the Sky King Tombs Adventure Path. Nice looking item, though. Good way to cheat around. But at this point, Dan, you don't need cheats. Your character's got the knowledge and the skill and capacity. You just need the money. You just look over at a party member. 160 gold, I'll get you +1 or whatever. That they'd just be like doing the fry. Take my money.
I thought it was 80 for the components. Was that not like the runestone?
80 up front, 80 after. 160 total for the base +1. And that's just to take a piece of armor and slap a +1 on it himself. No runestones, no nothing involved. Runestones? I think to transfer a runestone to an armor over the 1-day process is free. Let me double check here.
Aren't we just etching runes though? Because it's saying you etch a rune on an item, but we're not taking a +1 like chainmail and transferring that rune to another piece of armor.
Nope. But those runes you have, the runestones, the 2 of them, already have them on there. And they're designed to do that, so they can transfer out. Just 2 of them. But you don't have anything else you could swap. I think. Wait, do they have both have runes to do that? That's stupid. No, that can't be how. No, it dissolves off one and goes to the other. So many small rules for item crafting. But from what I see, they say it's 160 gold to slap to etch armor potency onto an armor. And that's the one that'll let you decide how many extra things you can do as well. Type 1, Type 2, and Type 3. 160 gold, and then 1060 gold, and then 20,000 gold. I mean, at that point, though, 20,000 gold won't be too bad at level 18.
Where's the 180 coming from?
Oh, that's just under the armor potency looking at Pathfinder Nexus. I'll put this in the Pathfinder General chat. Because that's my only reference. Because you can upgrade the armor potency rune as well, but you can increase an armor's item bonus by AC by 1 to etch with 1 property rune. 2 property runes of +2 and 3 property runes of +3. But 1 standard potency rune takes 4, because it follows the standard crafting rules. So that means it would take 4 days plus a day off for every piece you want to save. You pay half the cost up front, which is going to be 80 of that 160, if I'm right, Dan?
Yeah.
And then the other 80 comes at the end, unless you spend extra days crafting. If you can have 1 extra day because you've got 5 days worth of time to finish this one up.
Isn't that the base cost of the +1 rune? The 160?
Yeah, that's to make the room.
Yeah. So
That would still cost.
it says
Wait a second.
if we're not etching and this is transferring, and I think it's more etching, the transferring rune, it says is 10% of the rune's price.
Oh, I missed that.
Unless transferring from a runestone, which is free.
Yeah. And since you've got 2 runestones, you can set 2 pieces of gear up for free, 2 armors. Anything beyond that, that's the price we're trying to figure out. Because you have 2 runestones that are good to go. And if they're saying it's 160 gold to get a runestone +1, I would say it's 160 gold to enchant armor to +1, unless you found a spot in the book that says that.
Yeah, if you look at the Archives of Nexus, the DC of the crafting check to transfer a rune is determined by the item of the level being transferred, and the price of that transfer is 10% of the rune's price, unless transferring from a runestone, which is free.
Now that's transferring a rune, though, to transfer it between two items. So if you've got like a +1
Right.
flaming greatsword and a +2 flaming longsword, you could swap them and get a +2 flaming greatsword and a +1 flaming longsword. That's the transferring is what they're going into there, but you still have to pay the small cost difference on those. But that's
Well,
transferring.
but it says transferring from a runestone, which we've got.
Yep,
and
it's
then
completely
says the runestone is. So I don't see where the cost is coming from then. If we've already got the items.
For your first 2 armors, those are free. If you want to do anything
Right.
past that, not free. And those
Yeah.
runestones are destroyed the second you use them.
Right, okay.
So you got 2
Right, okay.
freebie runs. Everything past that, I think 160 gold. 80 and 80 split up. And those 2
Yeah.
will only take 1 day each. So that's a freebie go. But do you
Alright,
still
okay,
have to do
I
a DC for the crafting check if it's I actually wasn't sure. I thought it was free and you didn't have to roll the check, but you still have to, I think, do the crafting check for the runestone.
Yeah.
That one I think I missed. 1 second here.
So that would be
And what's our DC?
it would be 15 because it would be the level plus 10. I think it's item level plus 10. So that's usually
Yep.
how DCs work in
And get
Finder.
1 day of crafting, and it does seem to take, from what I just gave her a read, from judging by the wording, that you would have to roll the DC check for that one and beat a 15 on it.
Yeah.
But I don't see any penalty of failure, so if you fail, it just means you lose the 1 day, right?
It's probably in crafting. I imagine a critical fail would be.
They don't list anything for
Constructive.
under crafting itself. Let me see. That's a good point.
You fail to complete the item, you ruin 10% of the raw materials you supplied, but you can salvage the rest if you want to try again. You must start over. So that's a critical fail.
So it costs you 10 gold, or 10% of your cost is gone if you crit fail. Otherwise, you just try again.
Yeah.
That's not too
Yep.
bad. Is it possible, Dan, for you to roll 5 or less on a check?
I was about to pull bullshit. I'm an expert, so I have a +9 modifier, +4 for intelligence, which makes it a 13.
So he unless you roll a 1.
But I have the feat assurance, which means I can just take a +10.
Oh, God.
It counts as I roll as a 10. I don't get my intelligence to it, but I get all my other modifiers, so that's a 19.
Gosh. So we've got a guaranteed pass from Dan for many levels on that sort of stuff. That's nice. One thing I like about Pathfinder, if you're going down a specific build with your character, they fully support you and give you ways to overbuild on that. So Dan doesn't even have to roll. I mean, he can if he wants, but a one, whoa, but if he rolls a 1 is technically pushes you 1 further down than you would have gotten, right?
Yeah.
So
So,
technically,
well,
Dan, 5% chance of failure. I mean, those are the best odds you're going to get.
Or I could just take 10 and get a 19 and pass.
Oh, right, no, you don't have to roll. You just take the 10. You ignore the roll. Never mind. Footing right in my mouth for a second there. I thought for a second your minimum count was a 19. Oh, goodness. Once your minimum dice roll hits that, well, even then, you're assured it's going to work best. That's nice.
It's okay. You're just getting him mixed up with Jade.
Oh, God, yeah. Jade's like, no, I'm going to roll it. I'm going to hit like a 53 on this roll, but I'm going to roll it. I'm like, this door has a DC 45, bro. Why? Because it's future tech. It's advanced. It's powerful. It's a really good lock. And you're like, and I got a 53. And I'm like, of course you did. Next door. I mean, I sound like I was annoyed, but we cheered him on.
Dean, should I take that bully stick from him?
He's got a little nub left.
Oh, okay. I'll
He
just leave
might.
it then.
It might last him another hour or so, though. So if we wanted to save it,
No, we'll just let him finish it. He's had it since Christmas.
yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, no worries. Well, it's Furious. That dog's awesome. So that's a free pass. So after all the mathing and working done, then you have the capacity to make 2 pieces of armor plus 1 in 2 days. And as you pointed out, you don't even have to roll for it. You're that damn good at the crafting. Who gets to benefit from those plus 1 rune transfers?
I'm going to give one to Deacon for sure because he's our frontline fighter. He's always up there. The other one, whoever wants it.
I'm more melee based than range based.
And I think with the half plate, we can edit it to just give it a plus 1.
All right, that works for me.
No, potency room. Plus 1 armor potency room. This should work. Oh god, it did work. And now it's marked as magical. And its price got listed up to 160 gold. I wonder if that just worked. I think it did. Now it's showing your armor class for Deacon sitting at a 23 now. Did that just pop it up by 1? I wasn't paying attention to your old class.
It has not popped up. It was 23 without it.
Alright, 1 second here. Toggle investment. Oh, right, you had to be invested in it. Because it's magical and you can only invest up to 20 magical items at once. Now you're 24 AC. Alright. As your half plate is enchanted and enhanced. After all the fights it's been through, it's going to be a lot harder for it to get dented now. But I'm still going to try.
Hooray!
And who else is getting that plus 1? Did we decide?
Devaxian, because he's a melee fighter.
Alright. And Dean, if I went to edit it, you probably got me beat to it. Yeah, plus 1 breastplate.
Yep.
Look at that. The stats are going higher. So that was 2 days in. I'm imagining you've spent the next 3 of 4 days, because I said it was 5 days, working on something for someone. Either a plus 1 weapon or armor, that's up to the team. Or something else.
Someone had something that needed repairs.
I think it was John's shield. I don't know if anyone else's shield failed out, but I think John's shield was in need of repair. And since I hand waved.
Probably.
But a good catch on that one. I think everybody else was good for their shield, but John's got pretty smashed up at one point. I do remember that. I'm going to say the townspeople are working on the repair.
We found a shield that was broken and needed repairs. That's what it was.
Right. Even better memory. Was it magical with features and abilities?
Sturdy shield.
Ah. Oh god, I even have formulas listed out there for cost. Good old handouts. A lot of good things in there. Oh, I forgot about the demon mask. Yeah. Well, that's the wonderful thing on Pathfinders. There's a lot you can do during downtime, so it becomes very mechanical at these sort of moments.
If there's nothing else, I could just help with arrows.
True. We've got 2 working on it for the cost of a silver. If you joined in, it would get you another 10, but it would cost 1 more silver. I'm stretching it because it's supposed to be 4 days and you've only got 3 available, but I'm not being picky. And I could even see that. You'd see the 2 of them sitting there whittling as they're discussing practices for all that sort of stuff. Your character just jumps down, picks up a log, starts shaving off one after another without even, like, doing anything else. Just one clean cut of the blade and it's a perfect arrow shaft. Doesn't even seem to make logical sense, but your character's like, I roll 19 without rolling, and you just keep going. But on that note, so that would give 30 arrows instead of just 20, if they're all going for your character, Jillian.
Sure.
I let those sort of comments hang in the air in case anybody else needs arrows, but as this week is coming to a close, for Deacon and Devaxian, I'm gonna need a perception check, as you are on guard duty, as mentioned. Bep.
Sorry, say that again, Alan. I was talking to Julian there.
I just need a perception check from you, and you're like, I'm gonna ace this. Drop a
Oof.
nat 20 on the board.
Good. Well, let's see how embarrassed I get.
Well, oh no, that was Deacon. My bad. The D's confused me. Even better, Jameson. Nat 20 on that. Good way to start. At first, I was going to say, this doesn't seem right. How did Dean pull a 20 for his first roll? Well, still got a 20 overall.
Much more middle of the board. The balance of the universe that's where it should be.
Well, as you are leading this pack, as you find your eyes drifting through the cloud, it's the Vaxian who sees something shifting among the smoke and mist. Though Deacon, who'd be quick to probably tap the Vaxian on the shoulder as he points out and says something's approaching us. And worse, with that keen 30 that you've rolled, especially on a crit, which brings you up a step, you can tell something else. Small, twisting movements across the smoke that you can't see too far through. In this misty wasteland beneath your feet, there's one thing you can be quite assured of. As you see a torch illuminate from one lone person coming towards you on the back of some great beast. You can tell, with that massive 30 drop on a crit, they've also got you surrounded.
I would just slowly lean over and whisper, "We're surrounded."
Well, that's not good. I think we should sound the alarm.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
The vaccine starts to hammer onto your shield. Dung 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 dung.
It's enough to get the attention of many of the people, the once mayor, now probably just caravan leader, stepping up and saying, "What's going on out here? What the devil is wrong with you?" Oh, shit. You know. Because it's just, you're probably just pointing a finger out into the darkness as you can see that one figure approaching.
A spot of trouble. I assume surrounding us and appearing out the mist is probably not a sign of a friendly intention.
You're going to squint his eyes as he reaches for his broken blunderbuss, giving a nod saying, some bullshit's what this is.
We could go out and see what they want before they get closer, see if we can distract them a little bit. Give people time to prepare.
That sounds like a good idea to me.
Truth is, the one approaching, as of right now, is moving at a steady pace. By the time you'd get off this caravan, they're going to be there. Though, I give you the advantage of what I call plot time, as you're having this quick discussion on your caravan before this lone figure approaches. You've got moments to plan, essentially. Feels like you've had like 5, 10, 20 minutes even though it's been like 5 seconds.
Are Phoenix and Nestry up with us?
After you gong it on the shield, I would hope so.
I mean, they may just say, what is he doing now?
Nestry fumbles out, holding her bow with her hair, like, flying everywhere, 'cause she was probably asleep. What now?
Yeah, well, if it looks like they're going to get to us by the time we dismount, I think we'll just draw some weapons. I'll pull out my boarding axe, and then my other hand I'll pull out a dart, throw at someone.
Took me half a minute, but because I've watched this a lot this week with the kiddo unwell. Nestry's here.
Accurate.
I gotta say, my single favorite part of that whole movie is seeing her wake up with bedhead, and I'm like, yes! Finally. Realistic expectations in a Disney movie. But as you all take those brief moments to get yourselves ready, drawing some weapons up, the team getting together, the half-orc who travels with you, taking a moment to sit back a little further as he readies bow and arrow, but keeping his distance as the fog closes in and almost chokes. It's not long before you'd see a torch light up, however, from the one approaching, and you'd be able to make them out quite clearly. A brute of an orc on the back of a beastly warg, which itself kind of looks like a very, very large wolf.
Oh,
you know.
no need to share a picture. I know exactly what a warg is.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's like, we know orcs riding on giant wolves, Ellen. It is tradition. But
They followed us all this way.
Just got the two towers going in my head just now.
The same.
as he approaches, with scarred eye and a fierce look of battle on his face, holding up a torch, he'd stay about 15 feet away, however, and he'd give a simple holler, as he'd confirm something Deacon already knew. All right, we got you surrounded. Bring the caravan to a dead stop. And you've got the choice now.
It would actually be much better to initiate trade during the day. Most people are asleep just now. You could come back around sunup.
He snorts at that and gives his head a shake. Oh, you think you're clever now? Okay. Yeah, no. And he snaps his fingers and just yells, light 'em up! And you see one torch after another blitzing, dozens of them, maybe even close to 100, as similar riders to himself with large groupings of orcs around them have your caravan all but surrounded and are moving along with you. Also, hat tip to Jameson for noticing them before they gave out their position. You imagine if the team says, now snipe him. Oh,
Glad I
goodness.
noticed.
Not that the team usually resorts to violence, but on the off chance, one time they say, we ain't got time for this. Pull a Skyrim, just shoot him.
Stealth archer from a caravan. Who did that? We don't know. What do you want?
And he just shoots the glare, narrows his eyes, holds out the torch and says, stop your caravan.
What do you guys think? It's harder to attack a moving caravan, but it's we also fell off the last time, which was just not good either.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That, and we are severely outnumbered.
They're orcs. And essentially this is a raiding party. And you've got one gigantic grouping of civilians with you right now.
Vaccine will look at the guy, the half orc that we rescued, took from his tribe, and you say, "Are they yours?"
He squints his eye as he leans in a bit and gives a slight nod of his head as he seems to confirm they do appear to be one from his group.
Interesting. What was your father's name?
He gives you confirmation. The big King Bugaboo.
Well, if you want us to stop, we'll actually need that request from Orc Chieftain, insert name here, as his War Chief, insert son's name here, will not acquiesce to a demand from a common rabble rouser.
He's gonna reach a hand down as you're saying that, nodding his head slowly as he reaches a hand slowly to his back, pulling what looks like a spear out, a long spear, balancing it rather casually in one hand as he holds a glare on your character, adding in, I'm going on the war chief's orders. You either do this, or I'll stop your caravan myself.
This track doesn't seem to be working. What do you guys think?
I hate to say it, but I think it might be best to stop the caravan and try and deal with this now, because I don't know if we can take on this many orcs. And just to confirm, there were hundreds of orcs that we can see,
Yeah.
correct?
But, well, there's a lot of torches. They've got themselves loaded. They're either being very clever with how they're doing things, or, yeah, you're severely outnumbered.
Even if each orc was holding 2 torches, there would be, what, at least 50 to get to 800? Though, that's still probably more than we could take.
And they come with wolf mounts, which I imagine would scare our horses, which
Yeah.
might make driving forward very difficult.
Very well, we'll stop, but this discourtesy will be noted in negotiations.
And as you all slow to a stop, you can see the look on that orc's face shift a bit to one of anger as he puts the spear back on his face, and then a slow chuckle following out. And therein lies the problem. You think this is a negotiation. As he slowly walks backwards on his warg, adding in as he starts to creep back into the fog, make your time. We will come for you. That ring of fire still circled around the outside of your caravan, but for now, it seems they're staying back in the dense fog, at least for the moment. You've been giving a small reprieve, moments, minutes, maybe hours, to plan for whatever they've got planned for you.
We should... Should we circle the caravans, make a defensive line? Or should we take off again? We'll never get enough speed to outrun those walks.
How many orcs are there?
Dozens. So have you ever seen the Watership Down series? It's, somebody would say thousands at this point. And I'm sorry, Jillian, I think I cut you off.
No, I think I just said I was afraid of that. I mean, I don't think we have any choice but to talk to them.
Okay, let's get the caravans to make like small circle formations or squares. That way they can't get a charge off.
Provide you with a defendable situation in the worst case scenario. So rounding themselves up, and you know, people are a little terrified and a little scared. So they all huddle close together, but they have no trouble quickly making a large U shape with your caravans to give you that defensive structure.
Okay. Options. Who has cannon equivalent spells? I don't know how magic works.
I mean, I can do stuff, but I don't know if it's canon equivalent.
Do you think they're still looking for... 2 seconds. Do you think they're still looking for Garrick?
Oh, 10
A name
points.
we use all the time.
The beauty of electronic notes. Control F.
Heh. Good job. I'll tip my hat to that.
We
I'm actually looking through my handouts. I don't see the notes where I gave out their names. I may have missed that. It's one thing for me to say Prince King Bugaboo when you bump back into them. But you think I'd have Garrick and his lady's information in there? They were. Or at least somewhere. Ah, well. We'll figure it out.
the daughter's name I think is Karak. Karac. Yeah, Karak Luna Dream. 19 years old.
The worst of it here is I'm looking at my notes, and that's the only part that's blank out. Like, I've got everyone. The mayor from the town that just went poof. Erlemil Adavel, 158-year-old wood elf, you might remember, but they're dead now. I mean, they're dead. They were a pirate. And Adriel Gallerina was the 255-year-old female wood elf who was more than happy to help you out with medical supplies. And she's still traveling with the team now, in case you need any of that advanced knowledge. But for some goddamn reason, my notes from the start of the chapter are completely gone. So I'll have to rebuild those for next week, which means I'll have to watch those videos. At least I have them.
Would you like me to share my campaign notes with you?
Oh, by all means, you'll save me time on names, because I know I dropped a couple other ones that I can't find, and I'm looking at my list like, where the hell are you? I keep it on the desktop.
Her dad's name is Francis.
Yeah. I'll take note. It's mostly the print. I'm pretty sure the Orcs King was Bugaboo.
Just send me your email address and I'll share the Google Doc with you.
Oh yeah, I got one lazy one.
The Orc King.
Because I tried to give his son a standard name. You know, Garrick. It's pretty straightforward. Him was Bugaboo because, I mean, he's a pure orc and he's used to kicking butt. I'm 99% certain. Well, like I said, I'll check my recording and make sure I didn't put my foot in my mouth. I'm going off my memory, which, God, there's a reason I write everything down.
I might not have the Orc King's name either. Oh. Anyway.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Most importantly now, is a number of hours go by. It's getting near 9 o'clock at night. Clouds rolling in overhead make it even harder to see with the fog. Before you'd see a small grouping of these orcs walking towards the front formation of the U, carrying with themselves standard-bearing flags flapping through the air. And clear as day, in the middle of said pile, surrounded by brutish orcs, you could clearly see the war chief Bugaboo himself, approaching and waiting near what would be considered an entrance to this place.
I have a request if we had some hours.
Oh yeah, 2 hours.
Would we have been able to dig some small ditches near the entrance to the caravans and fill them with fuel so that if they do attack, then we stem the tide?
I'm just going to say you get that moment as they're marching forward. One of them pauses, just holds the fist up. The whole team sort of stops. They look down. They see it. You see the light chuckle from one of their trap-making experts because, well, they're not taking any further steps forward. But they await you all to approach as well, as it looks like this is their communications team. And you might be thinking, damn it, that was meant to be a secret trap. But you know.
Yeah.
Definitely going to
Maybe-
work for its purpose, though, if you need it. That's going to stop people
Yeah.
from doing much of anything. I mean, I say that
How-
one of them's going to jump through the flames like Lord of the Rings style.
Oh well, it's not on fire yet.
No,
it's
no,
just
not
we'll
yet.
just have a little dude. But yeah, like bring him down, Destry, bring him down.
Like 100 arrows flying at one enemy. The King Bugaboo just says, wait, hold on, I've seen this before. It's in this movie called 300. Let's just back up for a second and use some artillery on them. Strategic orc, the last thing anyone needs to face. But there's a small grouping of them, and they await your representatives for whoever wants to go out and talk with these orcs.
Shall we go, Garrick? It's your dad, perhaps. You should come.
Garrick, who's practically sinking behind the seat as you're saying this, he gives a slow nod of his head. He says, well, okay, if you think that's the best possible choice of action and idea here, you sure? I mean, you sure?
Do you think he's gonna kill you?
He pauses and you see him look towards his father a bit, and he squints down even lower in each chair, and he just adds, I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's up to you. Maybe if he wants you back so much, if you then say, well, I'll die defending this caravan, it might at the very least buy us some more time.
His eyes go wide as he looks towards you. I'm gonna die?
Look, how long have you known me?
I don't wanna
Most
die.
of the things that I say are lies.
I'm too young to die. I still got like 7 years ahead of me.
Well, what are you like? You're what, 19?
Yeah, I'm middle-aged. I know, but I look pretty good.
Yeah. Look, so just look. You probably won't die because he wants you back.
He's
Think of yourself as a prize.
He is definitely willing to follow along. You don't even need to roll a persuasion check or anything of the sort. He's just, the knees are basically
Nervous.
shaking.
Yeah.
The people
Look.
you've been running from have you stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Look, man. Your wife's watching. Come on.
Well, right now she's just my fiance, so it's not so shameful. If
I can come with to give you at least some assurance.
Look, the size of him.
He pats him on the
It's covered
back.
in metal.
Yeah, he can go. No problem. He's got your back. Yeah.
We'll right, 5 of us will go. Good.
He has those moments of fear and restraint. These conversations would go on a bit, even like if anyone else chips in.
Yeah.
He's
I've seen you shoot people before. You can shoot your dad.
No, I tried. His head's too thick.
Well, okay. Naturally, you can shoot your dad. You can shoot his friend.
She might be able
Say
to.
that.
Arrows and magic.
You see, he stares off in air for a moment as he just mutters, I've seen arrows bounce off his head.
Well, it just means you need to try a little bit harder. But get a bigger bow. Yeah?
Admittedly, he's gone full shag. Oh, sorry, Jameson, you go ahead.
Oh no, I was just about to make another joke. You go ahead.
I was going to say, he's basically gone Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. He's following along, and he's terrified, and he's constantly mentioning ways that he could walk away, but at least one small truth to him as you all approach the War Chief's party is he's still following along.
Yeah. I'll try and amp him up. So he's going to take Carrick away from you. You going to stand for that? All this? You going to stand for that?
He gives a
Don't
slight
get
shake
angry.
of his head. I don't think she's come for her.
Well, no, he's going to take you away from her. He's probably going to kill her. So that's like, can you live with that?
Well, as the group of you are approaching this other group, as you're still trying to amp him up, and I mean, it's working well enough that he's following, but at the same time, he's one of those people, he always has some excuse he can give you or think of something to say on spot right away. It's slightly infuriating to try to argue with him, but,
Like my co-workers.
Oh, goodness. We've all been there, Dean.
This is where this feeling of rage is coming from.
Yep. He's like, I have no idea how the data validation file was offset. I know it has to be edited, and I know I was the only one with access, but I don't know how it got offset.
Do you know magic?
Yeah, he's a good guy in accounting. Oh, goodness.
Nice. Well done. I like that one.
Well,
Ironically, I did used to have a co-worker called Magic.
oh, fun.
He was from Poland.
Thanks to Quantum Leap, the name Magic is always going to be awesome. And they brought that show back for more seasons, and it's just as wild as ever. Hope it stays on air forever.
I know one episode that they won't reshow.
Oh, for the old Quantum Leap, the original? Oh God, I don't even know. There was probably a couple that were questionable.
I'll send you a clip after the game.
Sounds good. Might get me in more trouble.
Yeah. You can't upload this to YouTube.
Oh goodness.
Not with a strike already there.
Oh goodness. Well, as you're all taking that slow approach, normally this would be the time where I'd say, and it's perfect time for us to take a break, because goddamn, what a good little cliffhanger to hang it on.
Yeah.
But not today. Nope. Plus, we're limited on our time anyway to begin with. As you approach Good King Bugaboo, as I'll call him, even though he's just the leader of the orcs, the leader of this band of orcs. As you're walking up, and I'm assuming all four of you, and I'm just going to shuffle the minis a little bit. This isn't necessarily the group you're walking with, but heck, the woods don't even look this nice where you're at. Walking through this area, now that you're a good couple days travel into the mists, there's a few things you're going to be noticing. This may come more noticeable to those of you who have more nature-based abilities and more connections with the land, as it were. That you would see the ground itself seems barren, the soil dark and without life. Plants do not grow, trees do not carry leaves. Their branches stretch to the sky as if seeking out a miracle, but the soil itself almost looks as if someone had salted it. But there's no way across all of the land this could have been done. It truly looks like the world is dying where you're traveling through. And of course, as you find yourselves approaching Good Bugaboo would walk over to the front of the group, with a couple of his attendants before himself as he narrows his eyes towards the group of four of you, and then back towards his kid, and then back towards the group of you as he says casually, "Bring me my son." To which you hear from behind yourselves just the quietest little, "Oh shit."
I'm so tempted, and I know this is the wrong move to say, but it's a Lord of the Rings quote, so it's out of character.
Okay, fair.
Whips out a weapon and holds it above his head. If you want him, come and claim him. But
Why do I get the feeling Nestry would just be putting a hand right on your character's shoulder like, don't do it. Don't do it.
So, well, I guess our characters know of, like, the other worlds, so does my character also know about Tolkien?
Everyone except Deacon. Deacon wouldn't get the reference.
He doesn't get a lot of the things this party says, but he needs help finding about his art, so, yep.
Oh,
just
God.
goes along with it.
You imagine how that one's going. You're all traveling. You got weeks on end. You got Phoenix sitting there as he's doing some crafting with Deacon sitting across from him, and Phoenix is just like, yeah, and then at that point, Anakin yelled, "It's not over," and then Obi-Wan said to him, "It is. I have the high ground." And Deacon's like, "Oh my God, this story couldn't get any better." And he's like, "Yeah, just wait for Return of the Jedi," as he keeps going. Just retelling some of the greatest stories. And I picked Star Wars because, well, it's an easy go-to. Space opera.
What are you talking about? I'm waiting for Minor Illusion so that I can just recreate the entire movie.
Oh, God.
You take a bard dedication.
You take that one tweak though, and you make sure that Jar Jar is painted as a Sith, because it just works too perfectly. I'm a little sad they nuked Jar Jar. I know people have conflicting views on Jar Jar, but when someone said he was a Sith and this is why, and they gave all the reasons and how he's using so much fighting skill at any given moment, I was like, God damn, it would have been the best. And he's the one who gave power to Palpatine, like. And then Robot Chicken did it. Palpatine calls him up and apologizes for using him. He goes, yes, it was totally your idea, Palpy. I had nothing to do with that. Hangs up the phone. Starts laughing evilly. Ah, Jar Jar. One of the best evil villains that could have been that they left as a goofball. I mean, they want to make money. They try to target it at kids. Look at Ewoks. So, with all good times happening, he has requested his son. He can see the boy, as I'm going to quote Kratos, as he's looking around, just waiting for your response.
Well, we've talked to him, and it doesn't seem like he wants to come, so you're going to need to convince him.
And he's going to loom over your character in that traditional sort of a way where an orc walks up to you, basically goes chest to chest, and they're like, I'm standing 7.5 foot. I'm bigger than you. I'm better than you by a wide margin. Because that's it. Single-minded. They just glare down at you a full head higher than you easily, as they snort a little bit and add in, I am his father, and he will do as he is told. Now give me my son or face my anger. I have been chasing you all for a very long time. And as much as you're looking to defend your NPCs, you're thinking, well, hang on now. There is that moment, that singular instance, when Garrick would lean his hand forward and put it on your character's shoulder and just nod his head once, you know. He's accepting of whatever fate might come his way, it would seem.
I'm at a loss for words.
Are you gonna kill him? Nestry will say.
He shoots a slight glare and says, I should.
Why don't you respect his choice to leave?
He just narrows his gaze at you a bit, but doesn't give you a response. Just simply mutters, you are not family.
I just can't. You need to give us some more information before we just hand him over. I'm sorry. I admire your dedication, genuinely. The fact that you ran over hell and high water to get here, followed us when we crashed an airship. Like, it's really stalker level persistence. And you know, I'm not. I feel like if you've gone this far already, you may as well just tell us what's going on.
Well, you can try a persuasion check on him if you think you can sway him to talk to you. By all means, as you push out a little bit, like, no, come on, work with us here.
I'm not good at this, but I will try.
Which, I should say, diplomacy for this one, I think is
Yeah.
the way of,
I
oh
Yeah.
shoot, that isn't, you got the 0 on that one? Sorry.
Yeah, so I may as well just roll a flat. Well, our charisma guy was speechless, so I had to say something.
I just needed someone to buy me some time. I don't know how aggressive to be.
Well, hope that helps. It's not great. Not terrible though, but not great.
As Nestry saying, no, we're not giving him up, we're not doing this, that, and you see the other orcs moving in, quickly surrounding. You find yourselves almost dogpiled, essentially. There's a good 8 of them now encircling. You know, every single point around you as the war chief themselves would lean forward. This time now, instead, moving towards Nestri, glaring at your character as they lean in. Again, towering over your character, using that height, as they seem to almost glare at you, before giving a slight scoff as they add on. I've traveled across the lands, through painful areas and through wastes in order to follow behind my son. And if you are dead set in heading towards these horrid wastes and throwing your life away, the least you can do is let a father say goodbye to his child.
Yeah, but is it like goodbye, I'm gonna stab you in the heart and kill you? Or
He
is it like
snarls.
sentimental, like, I'll miss you, hope to see you soon, right if you can, kind of goodbye? Genuinely curious.
Just a firm snarl as a response. Though your 12 did get him to give a little info, doesn't look like it's enough to really push him for too much more than that. Proud, brutish, and strong people the orcs are.
I'm tempted to just, like, aim an arrow at him, at Bugaboo, or whatever his name is, and just say, to follow up with Dean's quote, I will kill you if you touch him.
No goodness.
I think
See, I was going to cast light in his face. Well, I know that's a bad idea.
Oh goodness.
I think I've just thought of an avenue.
Okay.
You sure it's not Elaine?
Nestri's
A
fingers
lane
will
would work
kind of
as well.
Nestri's fingers will kind of twitch over her bow, and she'll kind of lock eyes with I can only think of Dave. What's his whole name again?
The vaccine.
Devaxian.
He goes by Dave happily enough.
Yeah,
Fair.
she'll call him Dave.
He passes for human more than elf because of the round deer feet, so he's used to being called Dave.
Now, of course, as she's resting on that weapon for a brief moment, Bugaboo himself stands up a little taller, tightens all the muscles, cracks knuckles, and you can hear the leather straps bending on his fist. You know, he responds in kind
Yeah.
to the slightly aggression.
I think what we have here is a classic miscalculation in the power dynamic here. Let's break down the options. We don't give you your son. You attack us and take him. We give you your son. You'll probably attack us for the insult anyway. So we may as well fight because you want to capture him. But what if, just to spite you, we kill your son? And then this will all be for nothing.
Ooh, Nestri takes that cue and aims her bow at what's his name again?
Oh, Garrick.
Garrick,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because let's face it, Bugaboo, you can't have any more children. That's why you're so desperate for him. Because none of the magical races are having more children. So you need him, or your family name dies. Are you too afraid to admit that you're shooting blanks now, buddy?
And he shoots a glare, but in his pride still holds his ground as he squints his eyes towards you, adding in, You have a fallacy in your assumptions here. I have you surrounded. If I wanted to kill you, whether before or after the actions take forth, in this parley that I have offered you, I would have had my archers release their flaming arrows and torched your caravan to the ground and taken from it what I wanted. But I have shown you this kindness and I have told you my purpose. It is up to you whether or not you silence the future of my people, but I would warn you to think very carefully on your next actions.
So you could have, but you didn't. Which means you're not a kind man, you want something, and you're afraid of something. So, why don't you show some real strength and tell us what it is you really want?
He brings his arms up and slowly folds them over his chest, the metal scraping as it does and clanking as he says once again, I have told you my reasons. It is up to you if you believe them.
Has he? When?
A few moments ago, when your character request... What the hell is my watch doing? Apparently I'm running a pace marathon now? No.
That's impressive at your computer desk.
God damn. I took off. Ran all the way to the store and back. You want to see me do it again? There. Did it. Picked you up some chocolate milk.
Amazing. Can you do it again?
Check beside yourself, man. I dropped off a Monster Jameson just for you.
Nice.
Right, like, so Nestri's gonna follow up. She'll be like,
Yep.
right, so you said you wanted to say goodbye to his son, your son. Fair.
Exactly.
But
That's
you
what he
didn't
said.
clarify. You didn't clarify if you meant like if you like your version of goodbye is killing him, because I'll fucking do it for you. And she's like her bow's drawn. But we just
You can see the
just
sweat drops
a
on the
little
other
bit more clarity is all we're asking. Like, just specifically, are you just gonna give him a hug goodbye, or are you gonna kill him? Because I'll save you the trouble.
And he looks slightly confused at that one, genuinely confused as he shakes his head. I have told you I seek only to say goodbye to him. If I wanted him dead, I would have showered arrows down upon you and finished your lot
right.
off.
Gotcha.
Okay. Well, why
Well,
say goodbye at all?
Poor
Why
Garrick.
not come with us?
I will say poor Garrick at this point. He's like bringing the finger up, trying Looney Tunes style to push the arrowhead away. And I'm sure Nestri just relevels it right in front of his face, and you can see the sweat drops, a little bit of tears in his eyes. But he's holding his ground relatively strong, but I mean, he knows what you can do with that bow and arrow. He know it might take you 2 shots, but according to the rules, an arrow to the eye is an arrow to the eye, right?
Yeah. Right. Well.
But all he claims is apparently he wants to say goodbye to his kid.
What would that be? Sense motive?
Ooh, yeah.
You could indeed try. Any of you could try to see how well you can sense his motive.
So it's...
I think it's just perception in this one, to be honest.
Yep, it looks like it's just perception.
They barrel rolled everything under the one stat to make life easy. But keep in mind, it's the sort of thing that if one player aces it and one player bombs it, you could have disagreements. One could say, I still think he's lying. The other person, no. I can see the look in their eye. They're a parent. And another person says, no, they're a good liar.
Well, I would say because I've been doing most of the talking that I've been trying to buy time, it probably shouldn't be me that rolls because I've not been studying him. I've been...
It's perception is just a perception check.
Yeah. I've got a +10 in perception.
Yup. I believe you take the cake on the team. Yes, you do. With your +10.
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, let's give it a shot.
As Nestri's wondering, is they telling the truth or not? And it leaned down. What are you thinking, bud? To Deacon.
I'm kind of debating whether or not I should use my nanite surge because it'll make me glow a bit.
Or-
Can I also do? I have a +8. Could we both roll, or does it have to be like one or the other?
You just run the risk of if one of you bombs it and the other one aces it.
It's confusing.
Yep. Pathfinder's rule kicks in and they're like, oh, you don't know that you won or failed. You think the knowledge. So this is what you get. I read that and I'm like, that's harsh. I like it, but it's harsh.
Well, I mean, I guess technically you're the GM's supposed to roll it, so it's even more of a mind game.
Yep. And I try to avoid almost all of those hidden rolls because it's no fun if you're not rolling for your own character. And a lot of those rolls go hidden so fast. So I let them go out there. Plus, you're a team that's really usually good when you got too much meta knowledge. So I got no complaints in that regard. Some things, like a history check that's real important, I'll run that in the private. But for this one, we've got Jameson's character ready with Nanite Surge, and Jillian's character ready as well. Because both of you have, well, most of the team has good perception, don't get me wrong. But both of you are pretty good on that one, so...
I'm gonna try rolling anyway.
All right.
We do have hero points as well, and it's like approaching the end of the session.
Oh, okay.
Gets a friggin' 19 on the roll.
Damn.
And Deacon
Right.
gets an 18, plus you had your nanite surge on there. And if you wanted to use your hero point to re-roll the 8.
Yeah, I think I will.
All right. $21. So we got a 27 and a 21 on the perception checks. Both of you sort of rub your chin as you listen to him say, he has no intent. He would have killed you to begin with to be easy about it. He just wants to talk to his kid. You seem to think there's an air of honesty to him. He doesn't seem to be lying to you or trying to twist his words in any convoluted way. He is very straightforward and very direct and very to the point. And he's not lying. In fact, the fact that he's given parlay at this moment for you all to speak underlies the truth that he's looking for a peaceful resolution here, not combat.
Okay.
But that
Nestri
being said,
will,
he'll kill if he has to.
Nestri will relax her arrow.
You hear Garrick mutter something about the brown pants while wiping his brow.
Good God, Garrick.
He just glares at you and says, "You could point one at your face." You know what I mean?
I've almost died several times.
Instantaneous. That was like a good 18 seconds with that thing pointed at my face, you know.
Anyway, well, if all you want to do is say goodbye, then
Garrick even
I
pulls
guess
up
by
the
all means.
arrow a second later. Actually, I'll point on that as he looks at Nestri and says, "This is what I made. Come on." Oh, goodness. But Garrick's willing, and it seems like the other guy is being truthful in what he's saying. Not the most forthcoming with info, but the brief nature of a war party, after all. It's up to the team, though, if you want to trust them.
Well, the way I see it, if he's lying, he's ending the relationship with his son, I think. Would he be able to come back from that? I don't know. But yep, the vaccine will trust him if the party's happy with that.
I'll let him go.
I'm good.
I'm just here as the firepower, so yeah, go with what the team says.
Eric?
He gives a slight sigh as he starts to take a few steps forwards. He says, "Oh, okay, right, you know," trusting with the group of you. As the orcs spread out before you, leaving just Garrick and his father for a brief moment as he walks up, and the orc war chief takes a few steps forward. As he looks Garrick over once and brings his hands down onto his shoulders, adding in, "My fool of a son, I chased after you and I tried to strike you down for your arrogance. But these friends you've acquired seem considerably stronger than anything I've seen in the past. If you're dead set on throwing this life of yours away, my boy, I won't stop you. But the least you can do is have one more drink with your old man before you go, aye?" Garrick blinks a few times and just gives a slow confirmation, before the war chief does the unthinkable. He laughs. A large, bellowing, echoing laugh as he puts one hand even on his stomach, puts the other arm right around Garrick's shoulders, puts him immediately in a full Nelson headlock, starts walking as he says, "Come on, boy, we're getting one more drink out of you yet." And he looks back at the rest of you, gives that one shoulder shrug of his head, says, "We got enough drink for the rest of you too, come on." As he not only invites the group of you, but the entirety of your caravan, it would seem, for a night of partying with some orcs.
Ooh. I reckon if the caravan residents want to go, that's okay.
Francis walks past you as your character is saying this out loud, just looks back. I haven't had a good goddamn drink in 3 weeks. I'm gonna go see what these orcs have to do. I'm not the biggest fan of them to begin with after all the shit they cost for me and my boy, but you know what? They got some good liquor. I'm gonna go enjoy myself a good drink.
Yeah. All right. So if people who want to go can, if people want to stay here and guard up, then
Now, I say this, but as he's going, he takes a moment, and he's gonna clasp Phoenix on the shoulder briefly before stepping forward as he says to your character, prior to that little rambling, he just gives the slight whisper, I've gotta go. If I don't lead, then my people will be too afraid to follow. And if anything's gonna go down, I need to see how this happens so I can call for retreat. Gives you that info that even though it looks like he's gonna go have a good time, the mayor's actually doing his duty. Hat tip to Francis, it seems he gives a damn. Which-
Francis.
Does mean a number of people from the caravan are on their way for this, I'm using air quotes, party, and the team's been invited.
I think we gotta go just in case some stuff goes down. Well, it's tricky, right? Because
No.
do we go where we can attack the chief if something goes wrong, or do we stay and guard the caravan? I think we
So
go.
we say go, that's with air quotes, they've got you surrounded, you're all in the same area anyway, you're just moving slightly closer to where they are.
Yeah.
Well, it's up to the team how you want to roll with that one, but just to give you a map for next week's game, let me go ahead and switch up. As we've got a nice little comfy campsite in the end, out here in the wastes. A little small, but like I said, I don't want to put like 50 tents on a map. I like just doing the local one for where you all would be and just have a few tokens on there. But you've been invited for a nighttime of partying with some orcs, as he wishes to say goodbye to his kid. And you had mentioned earlier to them about, hey, maybe you want to come with us then into the wastes. You will find these orcs have zero interest in, as they say, throwing their lives away. But since we're a little short on time, that's pretty much going to be where we're going to stop for today's game. We'll kick in next week. But I am going to give you all one small spoiler. This was one of those moments where, after everything you've been through, I wanted it to look like it was going to go south yet again. But no. They are being honest. It's a night of partying and celebration for your characters. You have a good drink, you have a good meal, you have a good feast. And then after this, you've got a 1-month trip through the wastes before you make it to the castle of Blackrock and what should be there for you waiting. But I will give you the small spoilers. You've gone through the worst with these orcs. They are genuine and true to their word. I do not have nasty surprises for you at this camp. Just a father saying goodbye to his son as he realizes he's outgrown him. The son to the father, that is. So, you know, slight positive for them.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, there might be some treasure to be had, or pieces of plot to be had with these orcs. So we'll see that for next week, because you know I got some stuff up my sleeve. I always do. It's half the fun.
Yeah. Well, that's a relief.
Though,
It's,
I did make this one as a powder keg. I'll give you the slight meta for that one. It was designed at any given moment that if you were to attack them, it would break out into a fight. But you're level 5, and you're very strong. It was a fight balanced to be at the limit of what you could handle, but you probably would have handled it. And there wouldn't be any orcs left. But it'd be one hell of a fight, I would have said that much. Woohoo, damn! Dean, you were a little bit more head-on when you're saying, even if they're holding multiple torches each, well, when you go there, there's not hundreds of orcs. A couple dozen, sure, but it's easy to slap 3 torches on someone with a ward, 2 in each hand, 1 on the back, maybe even a 4th going, you know? It's easier to look fake than to actually produce it. But even still, it would have been a brutal fight. And then the emotional damage done to poor Carrick in the time, well, I go on a tangent at this point. Instead, take your victory with a tip of the hat. Since you've gone the route that avoids combat, even though it felt like it should have, even though the person you were talking to was even standoffish and not giving you the info and really making it sound like you should have punched them in the face, you decided not to. So next session, you all start with an extra hero point. Everyone's at 2. for next week's game instead of 1.
All right, right on. Nice.
Mostly because I tried to paint that like it was going to be nothing but a fight. But the team found a way out, so I'll tip my hat there. But that's pretty much all I got for this week. I'm going to go ahead and cut the recording there.